Hello guys, and welcome to a new Drupal lesson. Today I'm gonna talk about Drupal users. So, what are Drupal users? Well, they are the site visitors. They can either be anonymous, meaning not logged in, or they can have an account inside Drupal. The required fields to be completed so that you can have an account are username, email address, and a password. Then the site admin can add other fields like photo or physical address, date of birth, etc. Then each user account is assigned one or more roles. The anonymous user account automatically has the anonymous user role. Real user accounts automatically have the authenticated user role. Then they can be assigned other roles that exist in Drupal. Now, each role, including the anonymous and authenticated user roles, is granted one or more name permissions. These permissions allow them to perform certain tasks or view certain content on the site. Beside the anonymous role and authenticated role, Drupal also has by default the administrator role. This role is automatically granted all available permissions whenever a module that defines permissions is enabled. All code in Drupal that allows users to perform tasks or view content must check that the current user has the correct permissions before allowing the action. In the standard case, access checking consists of answering the question "Does the current user have permission, whatever?" and allowing or denying access based on the answer. Note that access checking should nearly always be done at the permission level and not by checking for a specific role or user ID, so that the site administrators can set up their user accounts and roles appropriately for their particular site. In this video, I'll use the Drupal 8 instance. You'll find in this video's description the URL to the lesson where I've showed you how to install Drupal 8. When you've created the instance, you are also asked to create an admin account. That user has the ID 1, and for it, the permissions do not matter. That user is granted access to everything by default. Let's log in with it. Let's check first the people page. If you do not see this extra menu, click the Manage link. It will toggle the submenu. Okay, here on this page, you get a list of all Drupal users that exist inside the site. You can sort the table based on username or status, then for how long the user is a member of the site, or based on the access time. You also get the user roles. Then you get a form to search for a specific user. This form helps you when you'll have hundreds of users. If you select one or more users, you can also do some actions with them. Okay, then we have the permissions page. In case you did not realize that by now, Drupal's permission system is based on the concepts of accounts, roles, and permissions. On this page, you get a form with a list of all available permissions, and next to them, checkboxes, so that you can enable or disable that specific permission for each existing role. Then we have the roles page. A role defines a group of users that have certain privileges. These privileges are defined on the permissions page. Here you can define the names and the display sort order of the roles on your site. Then you can add roles or edit/delete the existing ones. On the edit form, you can just change the role name. On the edit permissions form, you can grant or remove permissions only for the selected role. Now click Configuration. Then from People, click on Account Settings. Here you can do some configurations. You can choose to enable the personal contact form by default for users. You can set the name used to indicate the anonymous users. You can say what role is the administrator role. Then we have the registration and cancellation part. This one is an important part. Here you can say who can register accounts on your site. Maybe you just want the admin to be able to add accounts. If you choose visitors, then all people can create an account. The default setting is that everyone can create an account, but for the account to be active, an administrator must approve them. You can also have the email verification functionality active. With this setting disabled, user will be logged in immediately upon registering and may select their own password during registration. It's nice to have the password strength indicator enabled, so that users could see how strong their password is. Another important part is what happens when the user cancels its account. You can choose disable the account and keep its content, or disable the account and unpublish its content, or delete the account and make its content belong to the anonymous user. Users with the select method for canceling account or administer users' permissions can override this default method. Then you can set the email used as the from address for all account notifications. At the end of the page, you can customize the email notifications template. Then we have the Manage Fields page. Here, you can add more fields to the user profile. By default, you have a field where a user can add the picture. You can also add new fields like address, date of birth, etc. If you click the Add field, you'll get a drop-down with all the field types that you can add. On Manage Form Display page, you can configure how form fields should be displayed when editing a user profile. You can also enable a custom display for the registered form. You can get to the Edit form by clicking the username and then Edit Profile. Status field tells you if the user is active or blocked. A blocked user cannot log in. Now back. On the Manage Display page, you can configure how fields should be displayed when rendering a user profile page. You can get to user profile by clicking the username and then the View Profile link. Let's log out and click Login again. So, this is the normal login form, but you also get by default a link to create a new account. Here, you get a default register form. In case you have an account but cannot remember the password, you also get by default a form to reset your password where you have to provide the account email. Well, I guess this is all, guys. In case you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Bye bye!